Breaking. The army in the streets this morning. It's time Southern Africa breaking news, SABN. Subscribe now, guys. We don't just bring you news. We bring you the news behind the news. Straight from the streets, from the insiders, from the people. Because SABN is your home. It's your mouthpiece. It's your big brother with a third eye and a cousin at KGVI. Intro. Good morning, Zimbabwe, and good morning to the 15,000 brave subscribers of Southern Africa Breaking News, the best community news channel voted by callers from Kuwadzana, Mbare, and even diaspora in Jozi, Leeds, and Perth. But this morning, something felt different in Harare. The phone calls started early. At exactly 5:44 a.m., I got a call from my tsitsi in Avondale. She sounded shaken. Takunda Mabika, Ngatifunge. There are soldiers by Lomagundi Road near the Westgate roundabout. I saw them with my own two eyes. 10 minutes later, Blessing Mutasa, a taxi driver from Warren Park D, called while driving his usual route. Bro, I counted 6 trucks full of soldiers parked opposite Belgravia shops. I had to make a U-turn. Kochi Chacho Chiri Kwitika. Then came another message from Tapiwa from Madokero. Y'all know that's my hood. Bro, something's cooking. 4 camouflaged vehicles moved into Dzivara Sekwa direction, but they weren't just training. One of the guys even had a radio strapped to his back and was barking orders. Inside info from General Silence. Now listen, around 7:20 a.m., I received a coded text from General Silence, you know, our deep throat from KGVI. He said, Mabika, this is not a drill. Orders went out last night for urban readiness deployment. It's about testing reaction time, but it's also a message. Something political is shifting, and the commanders want boots visible. He didn't elaborate, but I read between the lines. This isn't the first time, but this time feels different. Harare's used to tension. We've seen army vehicles before, especially around elections. But today they weren't just in town. They were in the hood. They were in Rugare. They passed through Glen Norah. They even had 2 unmarked black Nissan Navaras idling around Waterfall Shopping Center. I even got a call from my Rufaro in Chitungwiza. Yes, even Chitungwiza, guys. They passed my tuck shop in Unit N around 6:30. I thought I was dreaming. Soldiers in Unit N, come on. The message behind the movement. Now look, the official government line, as always, is these are routine military drills. But if you know Zimbabwe, you know timing is everything. This happens just as talks of Chamisa Mnangagwa secret meetings are heating up. Tensions within ZANU PF are being whispered in corridors. Government workers are demanding better pay after ZIG 2.0 launch.
You might have woken up to a different kind of quiet in Harare this morning. Not the usual calm, perhaps, but maybe a hush. Something with unspoken questions.
That's sort of the feeling hinted at in this YouTube video we're looking at. From Southern Africa Breaking News.
Right, that's the one. It's grabbed your attention.
And the title alone, Breaking, the army in the streets this morning, it's time, throws you into the deep end, doesn't it?
It really does. It suggests something significant is maybe unfolding.
So our job today in this deep dive is really to sift through these reports, figure out what's being claimed, and try and grasp what it might actually mean for you.
Exactly. We're not just repeating it. We're trying to understand the undercurrents. Okay, so the video kicks off by pinpointing the very first moments this unusual activity started.
Yeah, the timeline is, well, remarkably precise, actually. 5:44 a.m., that's when the YouTube channel says they started getting phone calls.
5:44, okay.
The first one was from someone in Avondale. They saw soldiers near Lomagundi Road and,
Avondale, Westgate Roundabout. Those are pretty central, well-known places in Harare.
They are. Which makes you wonder why those specific spots, you know?
Yeah.
And so early.
That's a good question. Is there some particular significance there? It's not just a random corner, right?
Probably not random, no. Then just 10 minutes later, 5:54 a.m., another call.
Okay.
This time from Blessing Mutasa, who they identify as a taxi driver in Warren Park D.
Warren Park D, right.
He apparently saw 6 truckloads of soldiers opposite Belgravia shops. And his reaction, they quote it as Kuchi Chacho Cheer Kwitika.
Wow, 6 trucks. And that phrase, Kuchi Chacho Cheer Kwitika, That sounds like a strong reaction. What does that really tell us?
Well, yeah, it's informal, but it carries weight. It basically means like extreme surprise, maybe even shock, things being really out of the ordinary.
So not the reaction you'd have to just routine movements.
Exactly. And Warren Karkadi, it's not typically an area you associate with a heavy military presence either. So yeah, seeing that would be startling for a taxi driver.
Makes sense.
And then shortly after, a message comes in from someone named Tiba in Mufakose,
Mufakose. Okay.
reporting 4 camouflaged vehicles heading towards Vimba. And the detail that stood out there was a soldier, apparently with a radio, giving orders.
A radio giving orders. That suggests coordination, right? Not just vehicles passing through.
Precisely. And Zvimba has political significance, doesn't it? Being the former president's rural home area.
It certainly raises an eyebrow. Could that be relevant? You have to ask.
You do. So you've got these early sightings, different parts of the city, hinting at something, well, potentially bigger.
And then the information takes a bit of a turn, right? Around 7:20 a.m., more cryptic.
Yeah, a message from their source, codenamed General Silence, apparently based at KGVI Barrack.
KGVI,
Yeah.
that's a major military installation. So this feels like maybe an insider's view?
It certainly seems positioned that way. The message, it was coded, but it spoke of urban readiness deployment orders given the night before.
The night before. Okay. And the reasons given.
2 reasons. 1, testing reaction time, which, sounds standard enough on the surface.
Right. Plausible deniability, perhaps?
Perhaps. The second reason was sending a political message, and it added, commanders want boots visible.
Visible, the key word, isn't it? Deliberate visibility.
It really stands out. If it was purely about reaction time, would you need such widespread visibility? It leans pretty heavily towards that second reason, the political message.
Absolutely. It's a display, a statement. But General Silence didn't elaborate on what political message.
No, the source apparently didn't specify, which leaves room for interpretation, of course.
So what kind of message does visible military presence in cities usually send, generally speaking?
Well, it can mean a few things, can it? It could be a show of strength, deterring potential unrest, or a signal of firm government control, maybe even a preemptive move if they anticipate political shifts.
The ambiguity might even be intentional.
Could be. Now, while these first reports were somewhat localized, the video then talks about sightings becoming more widespread across Harare.
Yeah, they mentioned presence in the hood,
Yeah.
Ruga, Glenora. These are residential areas, right? Across the city.
Suggesting a wider reach than just, say, key strategic points.
And then there's that detail. 2 unmarked black Nissan Navaras idling near Waterfall Shopping Center.
Right, unmarked vehicles. They always add that extra layer of, speculation, don't
They
they?
do. Who are they? Intelligence, special ops. What's their purpose just sitting there?
Exactly. It adds to the feeling that this isn't just a routine parade or drill.
And the Chitungwiza report,
Mm-hmm.
Unit N, around 6:30 a.m.
Yeah, that one's particularly interesting. The caller apparently thought they were dreaming because seeing soldiers there is just so unusual.
Chitungwiza.
Yeah.
That's a large dormitory town south of Harare. So if military presence there is noteworthy, it really does suggest a break from the norm.
Definitely. Okay, so we have these deployments early morning across Harare, people finding them unusual.
And the official explanation, the video says, is routine military drills.
But this is where the video shifts, right, into more analysis, saying that timing is everything in Zimbabwe.
That phrase, timing is everything. Why does that carry so much weight there, do you think?
Well, Zimbabwe's history, military involvement, has been pretty significant in past political transitions. Everyone remembers that.
Right.
So because of that history, any, let's say, unusual military movements, especially in the capital, they're immediately seen through a political lens.
So the timing becomes critical. What else is happening?
Exactly. What political stuff, what economic stuff is going on right now? And the video connects this timing to ongoing rumors, secret meetings between Chamisa and Mnangagwa.
Those names.
Yeah.
Understood to be prominent political figures.
Yes. So the suggestion is maybe these military moves are somehow linked to whatever talks might be happening behind closed doors.
It paints a picture of, well, potentially high-stakes negotiations, where the military's presence is like a silent but powerful factor in the room.
Could be. And the video also mentions whispered tensions within ZANU-PF, the ruling party.
Ah, internal party dynamics. How might that play into this? Or be reflected by it?
Well, internal tensions, they can manifest in different ways, can't they? Maybe displays of strength to assert dominance by one faction, or preemptive moves against another, or just signaling the current balance of power.
Adds another layer of complexity.
It does. And then there's the economic context the video brings in. Government workers demanding better pay, especially after the launch of a new currency, ZIG 2.0.
Right, ZIG 2.0. Economic instability often fuels social and political pressure.
It often does. So you've got this really, the military movements, the rumored political meetings, the internal party tensions, and the economic grievances.
It's quite a confluence of events. And against that backdrop, the video asked some pretty pointed questions.
Yeah. Is this a warning? Is it a flex, a show of force? Or is it, a power play hinting at bigger changes coming down the line?
Those feel like the central questions.
Yeah.
The ones people in Harare might be asking themselves right now.
Absolutely. They capture the uncertainty, the range of interpretations. But then the video pivots, doesn't it? To a message of calm.
Yes, a very clear call for people not to panic. They explicitly say this is not 2008 or 2017.
Referencing those years of major upheaval.
Yeah. And they use this analogy, describing it as a political movie, but hoping it doesn't become a horror film sequel. That's quite evocative.
It really is. It taps right into that collective memory, those anxieties about past instability.
And then there's a nice touch, acknowledging the everyday Zimbabweans. People just, going about their lives, working, building businesses.
A reminder that life goes on despite these unsettling backdrop events.
And then they drop that quote from Government Ghost.
Yes. If there's movement in the barracks, there's noise in the boardrooms.
That's a powerful line. Suggests a direct link between military activity and what's happening at the very top politically. What do you make of that?
I think it suggests these aren't isolated military actions. They're likely connected to, ongoing power dynamics, decisions being made at the highest levels. The visible soldiers are maybe a symptom of unseen political maneuvering.
A symptom of noise in the boardroom.
Precisely. And following that, the video makes a direct appeal to its audience.
Right, asking viewers to share locations, observations in the comments section. It's like crowdsourcing intelligence, isn't it?
It really is. Citizen journalism in action. And by calling the channel host Mabika Sabien as our CNN, they're positioning themselves, aren't they?
How so?
As, the people's platform, a direct source of information. Outside the usual channels, they encourage likes, shares, subscriptions, reaching out specifically to the diaspora, too.
Emphasizing staying informed, even from afar.
Yeah. And the closing remarks, quite impactful. We're not being told everything, but we're seeing it.
That really underscores the difference between official narratives and, what people witness themselves, the power of seeing it.
And the host, Takunda Mabika, even adds that personal note about being worried about the black SUVs, possibly needing to relocate. It adds a very human, slightly anxious element.
Yeah, highlights the uncertainty, the unease people might feel.
Definitely. And the video wraps up with, power is never given, it is negotiated, and Sabin is the people's negotiator.
Framing the channel as an intermediary, amplifying the public's voice and observations.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's try and bring this together. This video from Southern Africa Breaking News, it paints a picture of unusual military deployments in Harare this morning. That much seems clear from the reports they shared.
Triggering questions, speculation.
Right, and while the official line is apparently routine drills, the video places these movements firmly in a context of, political rumors, internal tensions, economic pressures.
Raising those big questions. Warning, show of force. Prelude to something bigger.
And it's important, as we said, that this deep dive focuses just on the information and the interpretations within this specific video. It's one source, one perspective.
Absolutely, a snapshot in time.
So as you've listened along with us, thinking about all these pieces, the early calls, Avondale, Warren Park, the coded urban readiness message, the contrast between drills and observations, the political backdrop, what single detail or connection really stands out to you? And what further questions does it spark in your mind about what might be going on?